First discovery, legendary Fiat G 55 Centauro fighter swallowed completely by American forest wilderness, awaiting resurrection from nature's grave.
Circling for full assessment, 80% rust coverage, peeling paint on wings, dusty cockpit visible. Tapping these nose rivets reveals deep rust penetration. Structural integrity check before full move.
Underbelly check. Moss-choked gear and radiators hiding deep rust cavities.
Opening canopy, vacuuming thick cockpit dust to expose decayed seats and gauges.
Testing left wing leading edge, loose rivets and spar flex from rust damage.
Prying open engine cowlings, dusty intakes, and rusted firewall on DB605. Prioritizing rust points on fuselage, stabilization plan before full transport.
Removing rusted landing gear wheels first, storing on labeled rack for rebuild tracking.
Cutting seized strut bolts with grinder, inspecting for cracks, now fuselage is jacked stable.
Lubing and removing canopy hinges, vacuuming dust, safe storage next.
Unbolting left wing root, crane lift to stand spotlight spar rust.
First olive base coat on the fuselage, just a light coverage to tie all the primer together before we build up the color and depth.
I'm spraying the tail insignia through stencils, building the color in light passes so the markings stay sharp and don't bleed into the camouflage.
I'm spraying the tail insignia through stencils, building the color in light passes so the markings stay sharp and don't bleed into the camouflage. Applying authentic serial decals with airbrushed weathering to match the restored vintage look.
Final rotary polishing, bringing the entire airframe to factory showroom perfection.
Final natural light inspection, confirming perfect paint uniformity across the fully restored airframe.
Blowing out final dust from cockpit instruments before epoxy panel work.
Rust converter neutralizing corrosion on dashboard brackets before final assembly. Epoxy consolidating original plywood panels before final varnish finish.
Painting cockpit side panels authentic verde anticorrosione with new rivet work.
Testing continuity on complete new wiring harness installation. Final buffing of stenciled labels, achieving glossy cockpit perfection.
Disassembling the DB605 cylinder heads to inspect corrosion damage. These engines sat exposed for decades.
Final cylinder honing creates perfect ring seating surface. Geometry is everything in aviation engines.
Purging 80 years of fuel system contamination. Clean before recommissioning.
TIG welding radiator corrosion pinholes. Aerospace quality pressure seals for intercooler integrity.
Ignition wiring follows exact firing order with military spec connectors. Reliable spark for every cylinder.
Engine mock-up verifies every firewall interface and accessory drive alignment before permanent installation. Cerakote H146 withstands 1400 degrees Fahrenheit while protecting exhaust components. Aerospace thermal barrier perfection.
Final engine torquing to 450 inch-pounds. Permanent commitment securing 1425 hPav to airframe.
Empennage rigging sets, 45-pound cable tension, his precise control authority restored.
Hydraulic bleed purges all air. Reliable gear operation confirmed.
First engine ground run at 800 RPM idle praise. Clean startup, no smoke, perfect synchronization.
Hydraulic flaps, gear doors, brakes indents tucks, perfect smooth actuation certification.
Final chrome polishing, brave ice, antennas, pitted tube, static wicks to mirror perfection.
Interior perfection done. Control friction. Placard authenticity. Glass crystal. Seat contouring exact.
Wheel.
Complete restoration reveal. Fiat G55 Centauro, reborn through 2 years relentless perfection craftsmanship.
Final preservation protocol execution. Aircraft secured against time's corrosion for future generations.
Rollout ceremony complete. Fiat G55 Centauro emerges from restoration reborn into Italian sunset glory.